Today, we're testing the Slingshot One Lock Glide 1525. This is the third size of the glide that we've tested so far, and some of you might be wondering why. We already discussed this in an interview, because each individual size was developed separately, and there are quite significant differences between the different size models. The front wing has a slight anhedral, and only at the tips does it transition into a very subtle dihedral. The outline is also unremarkable. We have an almost straight trailing edge and only a very minimal sweep. For this size, we have a medium profile depth as well as a medium curvature of the leading edge. Assembly is extremely simple and completely tool-free thanks to the well-known One Lock system. For the test, we also received a very stiff 82HM mast, which is slotted at the base on one side for Slingshot's tool-free mounting system. However, you can also fasten it with regular screws and small T-nuts in the box. Here again, we tried out two different tails, the flare tail in 145 and the turbo tail in 180. This size too was absolutely flawless in terms of its carbon fiber matrix and the overall finish. We tested the One Lock Glide 1525 for pumping and for light wind wing foiling. You immediately notice here that the wing picks up the flow very early. The whole thing works for pumping up to 80 kilos. That means even for a beginner in this area with a lighter weight, up to 80 kilos as mentioned, the Glide 1525 is definitely easy to handle. For wing foiling, it has an extremely early lift-off capability, with a board that generates good forward speed. Getting up on the foil with a 5.5 to 6 square meter wing and 80 kilograms is very easy from as little as 9 to 10 knots. It's important to choose the flare tail in 145 for pumping, so that you only need a moderate amount of energy to push the wing forward. As soon as you choose the turbo tail in 180, you simply need too much strength to move the stubby up and down, which demands too much energy even from very good pumpers. It's a different story when it comes to wing foiling, where using the turbo tail 180 is optimal because it really delivers the best possible glide, and even light pumping movements are enough to keep the wing going. In terms of flight stability, whether you're pumping or wing foiling, there's absolutely nothing to complain about as long as you choose the appropriate tail. The 1525 front wing is a foil that has a bit more front foot pressure, which will definitely benefit anyone who is just getting started in this area. This makes the wing very easy to control. It's not excessive and it doesn't suddenly lift or act up in any way. So, with a steady rhythm, you can pump it very well and for a long time. Surprisingly, despite its nearly 1.20 meter wingspan, it is also very agile when it comes to maneuverability. Especially when wing foiling, you notice that it is highly agile in both the yaw and roll axis, and it is very easy to control with minimal effort. Combined with the extremely stable pitch axis, this front wing and the entire foil becomes a very easy to use partner. The smooth and seamless transition that you experience from the truly excellent glide combined with the good pumpability and the reliable handling makes this particular foil especially attractive for riders who are looking to try their very first attempts at free fly, as well as for those who want to improve and further develop their performance in that specific area. When pumping, we get the same strong impression of maneuverability and responsiveness as we do when wing foiling. This good agility is, however, limited and restricted to medium to tight turning radii. For very tight turns, okay, maybe the wingspan is a bit too large, but that also makes it feel very reliable in all situations. But in comparison, the duotone Glide 1525 is not among the most playful pump foils. As already mentioned, you need a continuous input of energy for steady propulsion, but it doesn't have to be excessively high. And to come back to the weight again, for body weights between 60 and 80 kilos, this setup is really optimal, even for lower skill levels. If the weight goes beyond that, the foil could generate a bit more lift, especially when it comes to lower skill levels, from beginner to intermediate. We've already suggested a bit at the conclusion earlier in our discussion. So, who is this foil actually intended for? This is for someone who really enjoys foiling and wants a truly efficient foil with excellent performance, especially in light wind conditions. Of course, this isn't a speed machine. The measured speeds while wing foiling averaged around 32, which isn't super fast, but it's also not a slow foil. Many people who do foiling naturally want to be able to do both. We know quite a few people who, when the wind isn't strong enough for wing foiling, like to go pump foiling in light wind instead. And for that, this is a really nice combination wing that delivers great performance for both sports, easy to access and without any quirks. But it's important to note that you'll need two different tails for this combination. The main point here is, of course, the square centimeter size of the tail. When pumping, you don't want a tail that's too big and stubby because it takes an enormous amount of energy to move it up and down, and that's actually the biggest obstacle. The length of the fuse is absolutely optimal for both sports. But as mentioned earlier, when you are pumping, you really do need a smaller tail for achieving the best possible glide, for easily going through a wide variety of maneuvers, and for optimal light wind performance, the slightly larger turbo tail is definitely better suited. As mentioned, it all starts at pretty much exactly the same body weight range for beginners, from 60 to 80 kilos. That's definitely doable here. It just depends a bit on your previous athletic experience. But thanks to the very early liftoff capability when wing foiling, it's absolutely an option for someone weighing 75 to 80 kilos as a beginner. The same applies to pump foiling, and anyone who weighs more than that should already be at an intermediate riding skill level. For the entire system, including two different tails, you're looking at about 2,500 euros, which, considering the very nice usability for two different sports, seems absolutely justified to us. All in all, this is a very relaxed setup.